ECU football, there's been some non-conference adjustments, games getting shifted around. I've been seeing people are not very happy with what John Gilbert's doing with ECU's schedule. Removing games from the schedule, canceling series, putting on some more FCS opponents, which to me, I'll give my stance, and then I'd love to hear yours on adding more FCS opponents. We saw the framework last year when Liberty had one of the easiest schedules in college football. As a group of 5 program, that's what was needed. You go undefeated, you get that top group of 5 spot, and now you're into the 12-team playoff. Now, Liberty got steamrolled by Oregon, so I do think that there is something to be said there about playing better quality opponents like likes of Cincinnati and UCF and Houston of years past. But you've got to also make sure that, hey, we're scheduling a light enough schedule where we're giving ourselves a shot. I love having the Power 5 teams on our schedule, and I wish we had more of them. But I understand from that stance. If that's his stance on it, I understand it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do get it, and from that standpoint, you got to win what's in front of you, right? You got to take the schedule as is and win what's in front of you if you're ECU football. And I would be lying if I said our schedule this upcoming season does not look enticing, right? It looks like a schedule that if we have everything rolling, if we do everything that we're supposed to do, we have a legitimate chance to win the 10 games, if not more. We have a real realistic shot of getting the double-digit wins and writing our own history in the next year or two. Obviously, we want to have better competition. Obviously, we want the Carolinas and the States and the South Carolinas and the Virginia Techs on the schedule. That's what you want on there, right? That's what you've grown accustomed to as an East Carolina fan. Obviously, we still need to have marquee non-conference games to be considered legit. But you're right, Liberty had a nothing of a schedule, and they played Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl last year. So
look at Michigan's schedule last year.
Michigan's non-conference was cheeks. It was absolute cheeks,
and we were on it.
They cakewalk. Now, granted, they played stiff competition in the end, and they got it done. But yes, it was some cheeks. But at the end of the day, whatever the schedule is, win what's in front of you. And I think for ECU as a program that is trying to get back to winning ways, I think it does help when you kind of do some more FCS scheduling, maybe soften your schedule a little bit, kind of create that winning culture again, and then maybe get it back to where you can, play up to your competition, schedule some more powerful non-conferences. But I see the vision. I definitely see what he's trying to do, especially with it going to a 12-team playoff. And if you win out, you have a legitimate shot of getting into that playoff. And once you get into the dance, that's all you can ask for. It's just getting into the dance and anything can happen. So,
yeah, for sure. All right, Artie, let's talk about some of these changes. So ECU's game in 2027 at South Carolina in Columbia has been moved to 2030. Okay, this may be getting ready for the SEC going to non-conference games. Yeah. So that may be part of the reason why. Okay, ECU's 2027 game at Old Dominion has been moved up to 2026 and September 26th in Norfolk. Okay. Then in 2026, ECU has added an FCS opponent in North Carolina Central, so NC Central out of the MEAC. Okay. Then in 2028, it's crazy that we're scheduling these games out so far in advance.
Yeah.
But that's just the way world of college football. In 2028, ECU has added a game against Charleston Southern out of the Big South Ohio State Valley or the Ohio Valley Conference. And then lastly, ECU has added a 2030 game against Norfolk State, who we will see Labor Day weekend in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Yeah.
Anything jump out from those changes?
Yeah, I love to see the scheduling of more of these HBCUs. I love to see the scheduling of Central. They're a pretty good program. They're definitely a program. If we don't, button up, they can do to us what A&T did to us a couple years ago. So that's definitely not an easy one. I hate to see the South Carolina game get pushed to 2030. I really, really do. Looking forward to that one being in just a few short years. Now it's 6 years away, which it just sucks. But it is what it is. But outside of that, I mean, kind of just business as usual.
Yeah, and then as a reminder, in 2024, ECU's non-conference slate is Norfolk State. Then they travel up to Norfolk and play at Old Dominion. Then the next 2 weeks at home against App.
Yeah.
On the road at Liberty. I mean, you've got a pretty tough group of 5 non-conference schedule. You don't have any P5 teams on there, but you've got overall, I mean, Old Dominion, they're not too shabby, right?
They'll be game. They'll be game.
App State's gonna be playing to make it into the college football playoff.
Yep.
Liberty, we saw what they did last year.
Right.
Returning a bunch of key producers. So there's a lot of opportunity in the year 2024. While it's not P5 competition, it's pretty stout competition, at least when you're playing in the FBS level. 2025, Artie, Labor Day weekend. I know that you've got some plans Labor Day weekend already for 2025. First weekend, start the season off in Raleigh at the Wolfpack, at NC State. Come home, you play Campbell. That's your FCS team. Then you go on the road, play at Coastal Carolina. That's always going to be a fun matchup. Look, that's one that I'm looking forward to for years to come. I'm excited to see this rivalry kind of build and progress going forward. I mean, 2 East Coast teams playing, and ECU has the history. Coastal Carolina has the recent history. And then lastly, you got BYU coming into Dowdy. So lots of great opportunity over the next 2 years, Artie. Any game, I mean, of course, NC State is exciting.
And hate that I can't make the NC State game. Hate that you won't be able to make the NC State game that weekend. But we got bigger and better things to do. We got bigger and better things to do Labor Day weekend 2025. So, but I mean, outside of that Coastal, that Coastal one is definitely I'm geared up for that rivalry. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I mean, already in 2026, just looking ahead, you got Central, App State, West Virginia, and then at Old Dominion once again. So that I mean, the next 3 years aren't terrible.
No, they're
not. 2027, Wake Forest and Georgia State are on the calendar.
I like the Wake game. I don't know why. I like the Wake. It's like we never play Wake ever, so I like that.
And it's right in our backyard.
Yeah. I like the Wake game.
I'm excited about that one. Considering I will have to drive all of 10 minutes to go to that game. I mean, 2028, NC State at home, Coastal Carolina at home, and then at Wake Forest. So 2027 is at ECU. 2028 is at Wake Forest. So, nice. I mean, I'm excited about that. I think Wake's a good schedule for ECU right now. I think that's a good team to have on the schedule. Hey, if Carolina's not going to schedule you, if NC State's not going to extend, I like to have Wake. I wouldn't mind adding Duke there either.